ahead of Nation Cup. And in football, Rivers United has so far big loss to Club Africain CAF Confederation Cup. This and many more will be yours after this short timeout. Please stay with us. Here's the Sports Talk on Atlantic Television Network, and of course we're ready to take you 360 around the world of sports this morning. And joining me on today's edition of Grassroots Football Legends, of course he was in action yesterday. You're welcome. Good morning and welcome to Sports Talk.
Good morning to you, Kingsley. Good morning to our lovely viewers out there. It's great to be here once again. Like I said, yesterday was quite eventful. Rolling back the years and doing what I know how to do best.
Definitely. The grassroots legend himself, Ghana man, of course, he was giving us some decisive analysis on the show this morning. But let's take a look at the national down here in Port Harcourt, and the just concluded national judo championship in Port Harcourt. We saw 2015 African Games bronze medalist Franca Ontu. She won gold medal in the 52 women's category to maintain a 12 years dominance in the weight class. And 2023 African Judo Open champion that defeated Amara Udeze to win gold in the 63 kg, George, the most outstanding player of the championship. In the men's category, Miracle Separate won gold to continue his dominance in the 19 kg weight class, and 2022 National Sport Festival champion Kainde Aremu and Taiwo Aremu won gold medal in 66 kg and 73 kg weight class respectively. President of Nigeria Shodi told newsmen that 31 athletes have been selected and will resume camp from 20th January to 4th. Shodi said the athletes selected was based on their performance that recently concluded fourth National Judo Classic Championship in Port Harcourt, Rivers State. Gentlemen, of course, I know you're not really aware of this, but let me just take you on. What do you make of judo in the country? This is the first time we're seeing a judo classic, in Port Harcourt, and after that particular one, we saw. And this is a time where we have to tilt our eyes, to other sports, just like the Minister of Sport, has said, talking about John Owane. We mostly focus on football, sometimes athletics, and the Paris 2024 Olympic, of course, will be coming up next year. I don't know what you make of other federations, especially the likes of judo, in terms of putting up their efforts to also participate at the Paris Olympic.
I think when you look at football as a whole, you are most likely only to get one medal at the Olympics or at any meet events anywhere in the world. But in other sports, you have different participants in different weight classes, and that gives you avenue for multiple medals, gold, silver, bronze medals. So they help to boost your standing on the overall medal table. It's quite unfortunate that over the years, we've not been able to diversify our attention into other disciplines. with home state of Akwa Ibom to start developing the next phase of boxers. Unfortunately, these are not the things we are seeing. So it's quite disheartening that everyone's attention is not.
You see them participate, in several sports, at the Olympics, and this actually fetch them medals. But we know that the gold medal banned due to doping issues. The likes of Grace Mokocha, Bless Nokambari, of course, we know she was banned in the last Olympic, which was in Tokyo. Divine Udujuru, them especially in the relay, events. What does it tell for Nigeria ahead of the Paris 2024 Olympics?
It's not painting anything because there are really no shining lights. The few shining lights we have so many bad. It's little. I think it's not even little. It's too late to start doing anything about our chances, about our medal hopes and all that. So as usual, it is just going to be another day in the office in terms of participation, and then hope again that our football teams will end up picking up one medal as usual. So it's really going to be a torrid time for us as Nigerians.
But who should be held accountable for this? Is it the athletes themselves, or probably the Athletic Federation of Nigeria not doing the job properly to educate these athletes? Because sometimes you hear them say that they take this prohibited substance based on what they eat, and all of that. So who should be held responsible? Talking about the number of athletes, Nigerian athletes have been banned so far.
I think under them, and that is why it is really very difficult for them to monitor the activities of these athletes. If you go to the US, despite the fact that these athletes have independent sponsorship and all that, the US athletics box still keep in touch with their players regularly, invite them for tests and all that, know their training regimen and all that. But in Nigeria, you find out that once Blessing or Kabari and Sibrumi, they're out of the country on their own, they are there. What to just know that when there's time for tournaments, the FM president will just reach out to them, they come, and that is the only time they have any sort of interaction. In between that, there is no communication or whatsoever. They are left on their own to fend for themselves. We've seen this at least every time complain that they usually do these things themselves. So when on that basis, you really can't keep in touch with their progress, their shortcomings and all that. So it's a shared blame. I'm not absolving the athletes of any listen, because they too, they know the rules.
Yep.
They have all the list of banned substances that they ought to take and ought not to take. So they too share in the blame.
And talking about them knowing the rules as well, the recent one was the case of Toby Amosen, where she failed the test course with the athletic, integrity unit, and they came for her. And the excuse she gave was that the athletic integrity unit team, they didn't do well to locate, of course, her whereabouts, for the test. I don't know what you make of the case of, Toby Amosen at this point in time. We saw the athletic integrity unit dragging her to court of arbitration based on the fact that she was able, of course, to, gain victory in all of the accusation and charges, against her. But what do you make of her? We saw, I think it was that the World Athletics Championship this year, she didn't actually perform well. I think she finished the fifth, sixth, at the championship. The championship, of course, that she actually put up a very huge record. The last time out it was, head. But what do you make of her, going to the Paris 2024 Olympic? Do you think she might also be having some kind of psychological, trauma and all of that going into this one based on what has happened so far this year?
I think first of all, our excuses are really, really very lame, because it's not like not locating you would mean that they would need to locate you physically. We live in a digital world. All they need to do is just send you a mail, give you a time and a date, a place for their test and all that. It's for you to respond to such mails. So locating you is out of the question. The thing is, the world brouhaha has, left her in shambles, and it has really affected her performances this year. She's no longer the top competitive athlete that we used to know. The issues really got to her, and it impacted on her performances. We really know what she can do when she's on those tracks there. So it's quite unfortunate that she allowed herself to get embroiled in this fiasco. And with the Olympics around the corner, I really don't see her shaking that off anytime soon. So, like I said, generally speaking, it's going to be a torrid time for Nigeria on the medals table overall.
All right, so keep our fingers crossed. But we hope that the new sport minister, John Wanino, who has been putting things in place, of course, will try as much as he can to put this in place for you to have an impressive outing. The last time out at the Olympics was very, very abysmal for Team Nigeria. I think it was Blessing Oborodudu from the Wrestling Federation that even helped. I think she grabbed a silver medal in that one. We hope that this time, of course, might be better than what we saw in Tokyo. But let's talk handball as the Nigerian men handball national team have kick-started a campaign in Abuja. And of course, this one will be another impressive outing for them. This is they're actually putting this one ahead of for the 23rd African Men's Handball Cup of Nations, which will hold in Egypt from January 19 to 29th, 2024. The Golden Arrows are grouped alongside 10-time champion Tunisia, Angola, and Kenya, and will play in Group D with the hope of qualifying for the World Handball Championship in 2025, which will hold in Croatia, Denmark, and Salami, alongside his assistant coach Solomon Yola, invited 27 players for an intensive campaign which began Monday under the tutelage of coach Solomon Yola, who is holding fort till the arrival of France-based coach Rafiu Salami. Top on the list is Franklin BM Granollers of Spain player and captain Ubinani of Zenit St. Petersburg of Russia, as well as Niger United centre-back Yasid Kazim. Among others, Nigeria will begin their campaign for the Nation Cup as they play their opening match against Angola on January 27th. On January 17th, I beg your pardon, 2024, the Golden Arrows will be making their 15th appearance at the Nations Cup, and their best tournament was in South Africa in 1998, where they finished in fourth position. But let's stay away from that as we take a look at tennis on the show this morning, as Jamie Murray has been named tournament director of the Queen's Club Championship. Multi-Grand Slam winning doubles player, Murray, who is 37 years, will continue to play in 2024, but not at Queen's itself. Last year, Expo Laura Robson became Nottingham Open Tournament Director, and Murray has experience as a tournament director, having organized the battle for the Britain event between Scotland and England in Aberdeen in later 2023. But at this point, we'll take a short break now, and when we'll come back, of course, we'll move straight to the beautiful world of football. Please stay with us. We'll be right back.
From the line across the ocean to the land beyond the mountains, through the Sahara, we bring on sport news, live analysis, expert discussions on trending stories in politics, business, socio-economy, sports, and documentaries. So catch all the updates on the happenings around the globe. Stay focused on the fact today, only on ATN.
Telling him not to counterpunch.
Sports Talk on Atlantic Television Net, and of course, we'll bring you the latest revolving around the world of sport. Let's start with the novelty game down here in the city of Port Harcourt. In celebration of the Yuletide season, the Sport Writers Association of Nigeria, the Rivers State chapter yesterday engaged in a novelty match against Rivers State referee Council at the Yakubu Gowon Stadium. In the heavily contested game, the referee Council team showed tenacity as it took the lead in the 10th minute of the encounter through Promise Amadi, who was assisted by Samuel. The Swan team failed to equalize in the first half of the game due to a lot of missed chances in goal. But in the second half, the Swan team showed resilience as they were able to bounce back in the game, and Victor Kwame Sampong assisted Chichen Tam Akawo to get the equalizing goal in the match. I don't have to say much because talking about Sampong is there. Of course, he was the one who gave that assist. So tell us, how did he?
Right-hand side of the back three, while I was in the middle, more like a deep line playmaker. I don't know where Sanipe got all those tactical skills from, but it seemed to be doing the damage for us in the first half. Kingsley, not Kingsley, Precious Oham. There was a time in the first half where I held the ball far too long, and he was dispossessed as well. And immediately he was subbed off, or he subbed himself off, went to the sideline and started vomiting.
I saw the picture online as well. It was such an impressive one.
We hope to do that again sometime next year.
The caretaker committee chairman of Swan, Siri Dombite, he said that it was due to
some key players couldn't turn up due to some fitness issues. We used to see him back in the day when he was wearing the jerseys of the famous Elephants. He was quite slow, but his passes were still connecting. Photojournalist Ibisaki was full of running, but his passes were also too wayward. So it was that bad. Sanipe himself was full of running, but most times out of position. So he had me to always tell him that Sanipe, move into that place, cover up and all that. So Emmanuel covered himself in glory at the heart of defense. Yeah, Emmanuel Olubenga. After he shifted from the left in post was our national goalkeeper. No, that should actually happen. We should play with pride. Anytime we're the Swan jerseys, we should always play with pride and ensure that we come out top. So I'm calling on Mr. Seridon Witi to ensure he does the needful. Okay. And then also,
let's say it goes, for the Swan team, but it was really an impressive dominance for the referee team yesterday. They actually showed much resilience in that encounter. But Ganama, let's stay away from the novelty game as we take a look at the Nigerian Women Football League Match Day 6 results, as Natural Amazons, of course, beat Conflex Queens by 1-0. Edo Queens beat Delta Queens by 1-0. Heartland Queens beats Danas Ladies by 2-1, and Sunshine Queens beats Remo Stars Ladies by 2-1. Rivers Angels, of course, beat Ekiti Queens by 2-0. Since the managerial change at Rivers, we've seen them, of course, putting up some impressive performance in their matches.
Yes, most times it's really, really good to shake things up, especially when things are not.
Take a look at the Nigerian Premier Football League. Doma United bounced back, to winning ways yesterday as they beat Heartland FC by 1-0 at the Patami Stadium yesterday. The Savannah, who fell to a first defeat in 10 games on Sunday against Lobby Stars, quickly put behind them the setback as the Nazi Millionaires by a lone goal in that encounter. Domo United looking very fantastic this season.
Yeah, they have exceeded all expectations. Still early days yet, but after 15 games and they are still leading leading at the top of the table, it speaks a lot about how determined they are to finish the season very strongly. And one of the process of finishing the season strongly is to start strongly yourself. And they've put themselves in very good position to ensure that at the end of the season, they will definitely be amongst the weekend setback to hinder them. They bounce back and ensure that they did the needful and still remain on top of the table.
And of course, one man that was very fantastic in that game was the goalkeeper of the side, talking about Kingdom Osai. He kept his 12 clean sheets in that encounter yesterday.
Hard to say, but if you look at their results this season, you would also discover they are yet to concede a goal on home turf this season.
Yep.
So part of their outstanding achievement this season is the fact that they've made their home ground a very big fortress. Teams come there in the MPFL this season. Just 7 goals conceded from 15 games. Rivers United might have conceded 9, but they played fewer games. But for those that have played as many games as Doma United, just 7 goals conceded this season. So it speaks volumes to how well they set out from the back.
So for the goalkeeper, Kingdom Osai, a lot of Nigerians are worried that Jesse Pesiro, of course, hasn't sealed his eyes towards Kingdom Osai, because the man has been very fantastic this season. I take a look at the Pesiro, will I say negligence or not using his eye towards the performance we've seen so far from Kingdom Osai?
I think it's an indictment on the NFF, the Super Eagles handlers, the technical crew in general, that